Have you ever wondered why certain animals keep crossing your path again and again? A butterfly that lands near your window when you're feeling lost. A line of ants appearing in your home when you're overwhelmed. A bird that sings just when your thoughts are heavy. Or even a spider weaving its web in the corner of your room. These are not random accidents. They are signals, subtle whispers from the universe. Nature has always been a sacred language, and animals are some of its clearest messengers. For those who are awakening spiritually, these creatures appear as guides, carrying lessons too precise to be ignored. In this journey, we are going to explore 5 such messengers. Each animal holds a mirror to your soul, revealing what stage of transformation you are in and what guidance you need to move forward. These signs are not decoration. They are direction. The butterfly teaches you about change and rebirth. The ant reminds you to rebuild your foundation with patience. The bird carries songs from the unseen world, guiding you toward clarity. The spider reveals the patterns you weave in silence. And the frog invites you to release what no longer serves you, so you may rise purified and free. This is not just storytelling. This is an invitation. If these animals have been appearing in your life, it means your soul is listening. It means your inner world is awakening and the universe is responding. Once you begin to see them for what they truly are, nothing in your life will ever look the same again. So, open your heart, quiet your mind, and step with me into this sacred conversation between your spirit and the living world. The butterfly, messenger of transformation. When people begin to sense that life is changing at a level deeper than the surface, they often start to notice signs around them. One of the most powerful and gentle signs is the arrival of the butterfly. It may appear in your garden, near your window, in a quiet park, or even in dreams. At first, it looks like nothing more than a delicate creature passing by. But for a soul that is awakening, the butterfly is never just decoration. It is a divine messenger, the symbol of change. The butterfly does not begin its journey in beauty. It begins in stillness as a tiny egg. From that egg emerges a crawling caterpillar, a creature that lives close to ground, constantly eating, constantly searching for what can sustain it. Then comes a stage most people overlook, the cocoon. Inside that cocoon, the caterpillar completely dissolves. What it once was must die in order for what it is meant to become to live. Only after the surrender does the butterfly emerge, carrying wings of freedom and lightness. In this journey, every stage mirrors a human spiritual path. The egg is the seed of awareness, when a person first senses that there must be more to life than routine survival. The caterpillar is a stage of learning, gathering experiences, chasing after external goals, often without realizing the deeper purpose. The cocoon is the period of withdrawal and discomfort, when old identities break apart. This stage often feels like darkness, confusion, or even loneliness. Finally, the butterfly appears, rebirth, liberation, and transformation. So when butterflies begin to appear frequently in your life, it is rarely coincidence. It is a sign that you are moving from one stage of existence to another, a call to let go. Butterflies remind us that transformation requires letting go. Many people try to hold on tightly to old jobs, old relationships, or even old versions of themselves. Yet, just like the caterpillar cannot hold on to its form inside the cocoon, neither can we carry the past into our new life. The butterfly's presence whispers, what you are clinging to has already served its purpose. Release it so you may fly. Think about a time when you felt restless even though everything looked fine from the outside. Perhaps your work was stable, your family secure, and yet your heart felt heavy. That heaviness is the cocoon cracking. It is the soul's way of saying, this life you have outgrown. There is more waiting. The butterfly appears at such times to confirm that it is safe to surrender. The pain of the cocoon. Many spiritual traditions emphasize the value of solitude and silence. In Hindu philosophy, sages went into the forest. In Christianity, seekers retreated into deserts. In Buddhism, monks sat alone in meditation. All these practices symbolize the cocoon stage. Inside the cocoon, nothing seems to happen. From the outside, it looks like stillness. But within, the most radical transformation is taking place. The same is true for your life. If you feel invisible, overlooked, or inactive, Do not mistake it for failure. The butterfly teaches that invisibility is not absence. It is preparation. It is within this silence that you dissolve old patterns. The fear of judgment, the need for approval, the illusions of control. Only when these dissolve does your soul grow wings. The ancestral messenger. In some cultures, butterflies are believed to carry the voices of ancestors. Native American stories describe them as carriers of dreams and prayers. In parts of Asia, people believe a butterfly entering your home is a visit from the spirit of a loved one. This symbolism is not random. The butterfly moves lightly between worlds. It touches the earth, yet flies close to the heavens. It reminds us that those we love, though unseen, are not absent. Their guidance may come to the appearance of these winged beings, urging us forward with courage, the energy of lightness. Have you noticed how a butterfly never forces its way forward? It does not push through obstacles with weight or violence. Instead, it floats, glides, and rises. Its entire being is a lesson in lightness. Perhaps the reason you have felt heavy in recent months is because you are carrying things that cannot fly with you: resentment, fear, attachments, or identities built only for survival. The butterfly's lesson is simple yet profound. Lighten your soul. When you let go of unnecessary burdens, your natural state is to rise. A story of awakening. Let me share with you a story that reflects this transformation. There was once a young woman who felt trapped in her own life. She worked tirelessly in a career that no longer inspired her. She stayed in friendships that drained her spirit. Every day felt like repetition, and yet she ignored the inner voice whispering, "This is not who you are." One morning, feeling lost, she sat by a window. As she stared outside, a butterfly landed on the glass. Its wings shimmered with colors she had never truly noticed before. It stayed for several minutes, as if refusing to leave. That simple moment awakened something in her heart. She realized the butterfly was not here to entertain her. It was here to remind her of what she had forgotten. Transformation requires courage. In the weeks that followed, she made choices she had been avoiding, ending old attachments, beginning new studies, traveling alone. Each decision was difficult, yet each brought her closer to the life she was meant to live. She often remembered that butterfly as the turning point. Transformation without fear. The butterfly is not here to tell you that change will be easy. Instead, it teaches that change is sacred. The breaking apart of your old self may feel like loss, but it is actually liberation. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer aligns with who I am becoming? Where in my life do I feel restless, as if my spirit is outgrowing its shell? What fears are keeping me from entering the cocoon of healing and reflection? These questions are the beginning of awakening, the whisper of the butterfly. Unlike thunder or storms, the butterfly arrives quietly. It does not demand attention with force. It glides gently, and in its silence carries a message more powerful than any shout. You are no longer who you were yesterday. Stop living as if you are. To those who are ready, the butterfly is a guide. To those who are distracted, it is just another insect. The choice lies with the observer. The ant builds her foundations. Not all messengers of awakening arrive with wings of beauty. Some come quietly, almost unnoticed, crawling across the floor or appearing in places you least expect. Among them, the ant is one of the most overlooked yet powerful guides. At first glance, it seems too ordinary to carry meaning. Tiny, silent, easily ignored. But those who are paying attention understand that the ant is no accident. It appears not to disturb, but to reveal the lesson of divine order. Ants live with a sense of discipline and structure that human beings often lack. Every movement they make, every step they take, serves a purpose. Alone, an ant looks fragile. Together, they are unstoppable. They remind us that real transformation requires structure. Spiritual growth without discipline is like building a temple on sand. It collapses. Dreams without foundations are just illusions. The ant appears to whisper, before you reach higher, strengthen what is beneath you. Where they appear, notice where ants show up. They rarely appear in the wild alone. They come into our homes, kitchens, bedrooms, desks, our most personal spaces. When they appear repeatedly in such places, They may be reminding you to look closely at your foundations. Is your daily routine supporting your growth or draining it? Is your living space cluttered, reflecting confusion inside you? Are your habits aligned with the life you say you want? Ants are like spiritual inspectors, showing you the cracks you've been avoiding. The message of patience. One of the greatest lessons of the ant is patience. They do not rush. They carry loads far bigger than themselves, step by step, without complaint. Day after day, they move slowly, but their persistence builds colonies that last for generations. In human life, we are often obsessed with speed. Quick results, instant transformation, fast success. The ant teaches us that sacred things are not built overnight. Real progress is made by small, repeated steps. When you see ants crossing your path again and again, it may be a reminder to slow down, simplify, and focus on consistency instead of speed. The power of community. The ant is never truly alone. Its strength lies in cooperation. One ant cannot build an anthill, but 1,000 working together can create entire underground cities. In the same way, spiritual growth is not meant to be a solitary struggle. We often believe asking for help is weakness, that we must carry the world on our shoulders. But the ant whispers, community is strength, collaboration is wisdom. Perhaps the ants in your life are appearing because you've been isolating yourself, trying to do everything alone. Their message is clear: accept support, share the load, and trust that divine timing often requires divine partnership. A story of renewal. Let's imagine the story of a man named Arjun. He was a dreamer, full of ideas, but always restless. He would start new projects with passion, but abandon them halfway when results didn't come fast enough. His life was scattered and he felt stuck. One morning, while sitting at his desk, he noticed a line of ants carrying crumbs across the floor. At first, he grew annoyed, but as he watched more closely, something struck him. Each ant was carrying a load several times its size, yet none seemed to complain. They moved with rhythm, with order, each supporting the work of the others. That image stayed with him. Slowly, Arjun began to apply the lesson. Instead of rushing into big dreams, he started building one habit at a time, waking up earlier, journaling, practicing patience. Months later, he looked back and realized he had built the foundation for the life he once only dreamed of, all because of the silent teachers at his feet, the ant in myth and culture. Native American traditions often saw the ant as a symbol of persistence and hard work, teaching that no matter how small an effort seems, it contributes to the whole. In some African folklore, ants are honored as architects of wisdom, showing humans how to build societies with order and unity. In Hindu teachings, the ant represents humility. Despite its size, it carries more than its weight, reminding us that even the smallest being plays a part in the cosmic order. Across cultures, ants symbolize patience, discipline, and cooperation. Virtues essential for spiritual awakening. Your own foundation. The appearance of ants may be asking you to reflect. Are your daily habits aligned with your spiritual growth? Are you building strong foundations or chasing dreams without structure? Where can you ask for help instead of exhausting yourself alone? When you honor these questions, you begin to notice that life becomes more stable. Chaos reduces, clarity grows, and you no longer feel like you're fighting against the flow. The bird messenger heaven. Not all signs walk across the earth. Some descend from above, carried on wings of freedom. Among the many creatures that cross our lives, birds hold a very special place. They move between earth and sky, between what is seen and what is hidden. In many traditions, they are messengers of the divine, bridges between human hearts and the heavens. When a bird shows up at just the right moment, singing when your thoughts are dark, tapping on the window when you are restless, or circling above when you feel lost, it is not an accident. It is intervention, a language beyond words. The universe does not always speak in human words. Often it communicates through symbols, movements, rhythms. Birds, with their sudden flights and melodies, carry vibrations that go directly to the soul. Think about how a bird song feels. It doesn't simply reach your ears. It enters your chest. It softens your mind. It lifts your spirit. Their presence breaks the heaviness of silence and reminds you of something beyond worry. Joy still exists. Birds appear not to entertain you, but to shift your attention, to pull your gaze from the ground, where you may be trapped in sorrow, and raise it toward the sky, where freedom lives. Different birds, different messages. Every species of bird carries its own energy. The dove, symbol of peace across cultures. When a dove lands nearby, it is often a sign that healing is close. It whispers that forgiveness is possible, both for yourself and others. The crow or raven, often misunderstood as omens of death, but in truth, they represent rebirth. They circle when something old must end, so that something new may begin. They remind you to release attachments that no longer serve your spirit. The songbird, that one bird that keeps singing outside your window, even at inconvenient hours, is not trying to disturb you. It is trying to remind you of joy. Its melody cuts through your heaviness, insisting that life still carries sweetness. The hummingbird, a creature of pure lightness. It arrives when you need to remember delight, when your heart is tired of seriousness. Its message is, stay present, savor beauty, taste life as it is right now. Each bird is a coded signal, carrying frequencies from realms we cannot see. The moment you start paying attention, you realize they've been speaking to you all along. A story of release. There was once a woman grieving the loss of her partner. For months, she carried sorrow so heavy that every morning felt like a battle. Then, one day, a dove began landing on her balcony. At first, she ignored it, but it returned day after day, always at the same hour. Finally, one morning, she allowed herself to notice. The dove stayed longer that day, looking directly at her. Something inside her broke, not with pain, but with release. She cried for the first time in months, not because of despair, but because she finally felt permission to let go. The dove had not healed her. It had reminded her that healing was already possible. That is the role of birds. They do not give answers. They bring reminders. The bird as a navigator. Birds also carry the energy of direction. Think of migratory birds who travel thousands of miles, guided by invisible instincts. They trust currents we cannot see. They remind us that when the path feels unclear, we too are guided. Perhaps the reason a bird keeps returning to your life is because your soul is being rerouted. It is as if the universe is saying, don't give up, you are being guided to where you belong. Cultural and spiritual symbolism. In Greek mythology, birds were often messengers of the gods, carrying divine will from Olympus to the human world. In Hindu tradition, the soul itself is sometimes described as a bird, bound to the body but longing to fly free. Garuda, the great eagle, is the vehicle of Lord Vishnu, symbolizing divine protection and higher vision. In Native American teachings, the eagle is honored as the one who carries prayers to Creator, for its wings touch both earth and sky. In Christianity, the dove is a symbol of the Holy Spirit, descending from heaven as a sign of divine blessing. Across cultures, birds are never just creatures. They are symbols of guidance, clarity, and hope, the test of stillness. But here lies the challenge. Birds often appear in moments of silence. If you are too consumed by noise, constant distractions, endless worries, you may miss their presence. In a world addicted to chaos, only the still can hear heaven. That is why many spiritual practices emphasize silence. When the heart is quiet, the song of the bird becomes audible. When the mind is still, its message becomes clear. So when a bird shows up in your life, pause. Do not dismiss it as ordinary. Sit with the moment. Ask yourself, what is being whispered to me right now? An invitation to hope. The greatest gift birds bring is hope. They remind you that no matter how heavy your life feels, the sky is always above you, vast and endless. They remind you that you are not just body and worry. You are spirit, capable of rising. If a bird keeps returning to your window, your balcony, or your dreams, consider this. It is not simply visiting. It is guiding. It is telling you that your soul is ready to see life from a higher perspective. The spider weaver of patterns. Not every sign comes with wings of color or melodies of joy. Some arrive in silence, waiting patiently in the corners of your life. The spider is one such messenger. It does not announce itself loudly. Instead, it weaves, waits, and watches. To many, its sudden appearance in the bathroom, on the ceiling, or near a mirror feels unsettling. But in the language of the soul, the spider is not here to frighten you. It is here to reveal you, the web of life. The spider is the master architect of the natural world. With nothing but thread drawn from its own body, it creates structures of astonishing strength and symmetry. This web is not only its shelter, but also its trap, its bridge, and its home. Symbolically, the web represents the patterns of your own life. Every thought, every emotion, every habit, every choice you repeat becomes a thread in your personal web. Over time, these threads form a design, sometimes beautiful, sometimes limiting. The spider reminds us, you are weaving your reality, whether you are conscious of it or not. Patterns that repeat. Have you ever asked yourself, why does this keep happening to me? Why do similar struggles return in different forms? Different faces, but the same pain. This is the web at work. Life repeats lessons until we recognize the pattern and choose differently. When spiders begin appearing repeatedly, it may be a sign that you are caught in cycles of your own creation. The spider arrives not to judge but to awaken, saying, see the web. You are the weaver, the power of patience. Unlike many creatures, the spider does not chase. It waits. It knows that creation requires time, and that what is meant to come will arrive in its web. This patience is a profound spiritual teaching. In our fast-paced world, people want immediate transformation, but the spider teaches that true creation unfolds thread by thread, day by day, with faith and stillness. What you are weaving now may take months or years to reveal its purpose. Patience is not delay. It is sacred preparation, a story of realization. Consider the story of a man named Dev. For years, Dev struggled with relationships. Every partnership ended in similar conflict. Different people, but the same arguments, the same loneliness. One night, while staring into the mirror, he noticed a spider weaving a web on the edge of the glass. At first, he felt irritation and fear. But then he realized, just like that spider, he too had been weaving. He had been weaving patterns of insecurity and distrust, repeating the same emotional reflexes again and again. The spider became his silent teacher. From that day, he began to consciously change his choices, thread by thread, until his life wove a new design. Cultural and spiritual symbolism. In many Native American traditions, the spider is seen as a grandmother figure, grandmother spider, who wove the web of creation itself, connecting all beings in unity. In African folklore, Anansi the spider is a trickster and teacher, revealing truths through stories. In Hindu symbolism, the spider represents the cosmic weaver. Just as the spider spins a web and later withdraws it, so too does the universe expand and contract through cycles of creation and dissolution. In dream interpretation, a spider often symbolizes creativity and hidden potential waiting to be expressed. Across traditions, the spider is always associated with creation, destiny, and the unseen threads that bind all things. Trap or bridge. The web can serve two purposes. It can trap or it can connect. The same habits that hold you back can, when transformed, become strengths. The same emotions that once trapped you in pain can fuel your creativity and compassion. The spider asks, are you weaving a prison or a bridge? The answer depends on your awareness. The hidden work. Spiders also remind us that much of life's most important work happens in silence. Just because the world does not see your growth does not mean it isn't happening. The spider builds in the dark, quietly creating structures that later catch the light of dawn. In the same way, your inner healing, your meditations, your small daily shifts may feel invisible now, but they are weaving the foundation of the life you will soon live. Facing the fear. Many people are instinctively afraid of spiders. Perhaps this is because the spider symbolizes truths we would rather not face, the truths about our own patterns, cycles, and hidden fears. To confront a spider is to confront the web you have woven in your own life. But the lesson is not one of fear, it is one of empowerment. Once you see the web, you realize you can weave differently. The frog, purification and release. Some messengers arrive gently, some appear silently, and some leap into your path with sudden force. The frog belongs to the last kind. It does not glide like a butterfly or soar like a bird. It jumps, startling you, demanding your attention. In the language of spirit, This is no accident. The frog is the gatekeeper release, the one who purifies what is heavy within you, the dweller between worlds. The frog is a creature of transition. It lives both in water and on land, both in the depths of the emotional and in the clarity of the physical. Because of this, it symbolizes a threshold between the old and the new. When a frog appears, it often means that something in your life is ready to be released, so that you may step into another phase. Just as frogs emerge after the rain, croaking loudly in celebration of renewal, they appear in your life when the storm inside you has reached its peak. They come to remind you it is time to cleanse. The weight you carry. Human beings are masters of holding on to grief, guilt, anger, memories, and identities long after they have served their purpose. On the surface, we may tell ourselves that we are fine, that we have moved on, but the body remembers. The spirit remembers. These unspoken burdens stay within us, blocking the flow of life. The frog leaps into your path to say, "You are full. It is time to empty." The ritual of release. Release does not always look graceful. Sometimes it comes through tears we have avoided for years. Sometimes it is a scream into silence. Sometimes it is a quiet act of writing down secrets on a piece of paper and burning them. The frog symbolizes these moments of purification. It does not care about appearances. It does not ask you to be polished. It asks you to be honest, to feel what you have buried, to let the waters of your soul wash clean. A story of cleansing. There was once a man named Raghav who had lived with silent grief after losing his father. He kept working, smiling, and appearing strong, but inside his spirit grew heavier each year. One night, after a long day, he sat outside near a pond. Suddenly, a frog leaped from the water and landed right near his feet. Something about that moment broke his silence. Tears flowed uncontrollably, the first tears he had allowed himself in years. It felt like a storm leaving his body. From that night onward, Raghav felt lighter, as though the weight he had carried for so long had finally dissolved. That frog had not spoken a word, yet delivered a message his soul was desperate to hear. Release and you will rise. Cross-cultural symbolism. In Native American traditions, the frog is seen as a rain-bringer associated with cleansing and renewal. Its call was believed to summon storms that purified the land. In Chinese culture, the frog symbolizes prosperity and good fortune, but only after transformation, wealth born of purification. In shamanic practices, frogs are seen as healers, helping to cleanse both physical and emotional toxins from the body and spirit. In Hindu stories, frogs are associated with the rhythms of rain and fertility, marking the cycles of renewal in nature. Everywhere, the frog's meaning is connected to water, cleansing, and rebirth, facing the inner storm. When frogs start appearing frequently, especially after emotional triggers, it is often a sign that your soul is asking you to stop pretending to feel fully and to allow what is heavy to be released. This might mean crying, forgiving, confessing, or simply acknowledging what you're denied. The frog reminds us that purification is not punishment, it is liberation. After the rain. Notice how frogs sing after the rain. They do not fear the storm. They celebrate what follows. Similarly, after release comes clarity. After clarity comes courage. And after courage comes rebirth. The frog does not promise instant peace, but it promises truth. And once you face truth, healing begins. Herb the circle of 5. Now that you have walked with all 5 messengers, you can see the larger picture. The butterfly calls you to transformation. The ant teaches patience and structure. The bird carries messages of hope and guidance. The spider reveals the patterns you are weaving. The frog cleanses your spirit through release. Together, they form a sacred sequence. First comes transformation, then structure, then divine guidance, then awareness of patterns, and finally purification. This is not random. It is the journey of the soul itself. As we come to the close of this journey, let us pause and reflect on what we have uncovered together. At first, it may have seemed like we were only talking about animals, small, ordinary creatures that cross our paths every day. But as we listened more deeply, it became clear these were never just animals. They were mirrors. They were guides. They were signs that the universe has been speaking to us in the language of nature all along. Think about where we began, with a butterfly, a creature that teaches us that transformation does not come without surrender. It begins in darkness, in solitude, in the breaking apart of everything familiar. And yet, from that stillness comes beauty, wings, and freedom. The butterfly reminded us that change is not to be feared. It is to be embraced as a sacred path of becoming. Then came the ant, tiny, almost invisible, yet carrying a lesson of immense power. The ant showed us the value of patience, structure, and community. It whispered that dreams are not built on wishes alone. They are built on steady steps, repeated each day. It asked us to examine our foundations, to clear the clutter, to honor discipline, and to recognize that even the smallest consistent action holds divine strength. From the ground, we lifted our gaze to the sky and met the bird. Its presence was not random. It was intervention. The bird sang when silence fell heavy. It arrived when hope seemed distant. It reminded us that joy still lives here, that we are not only body and worry, but spirit and song. Different birds carried different messages. The dove of peace, the crow of rebirth, the hummingbird of joy. Yet all of them called us to listen, to trust, and to remember that guidance is always near when the heart is still enough to hear it. Then, quietly, the spider appeared, not with wings, not with melody, but with a web spun of patience, intention, and invisible threads. The spider revealed the patterns we weave in our own lives, the habits, the cycles, the unspoken choices that repeat again and again. It reminded us that we are not trapped by fate, but by our own unconscious weaving. And in that truth lies freedom, the power to create new patterns, new designs, new destinies, thread by thread. Finally, the frog leapt into our path, startling, primal, impossible to ignore. It came as a messenger of release. It told us, "You are full. It is time to empty." With the frog, we face the necessity of letting go, of grief, of guilt, of secrets too heavy to carry. The frog showed us that purification is not punishment, but renewal. Just as it sings after the rain, it invited us to celebrate what follows a storm. The fresh air of clarity, the courage of a cleansed heart, the rebirth of the soul that has released its burdens. And so, the 5 messengers, butterfly, ant, bird, spider, frog, have spoken. They have not come to decorate your life. They have come to awaken it. Each carried a piece of the larger message, that you are always being guided, that transformation is already unfolding within you, that your spirit is never alone in this vast world. Now, the question is not whether you have seen the signs. The question is, will you honor them? Will you allow yourself to transform, to rebuild, to listen, to weave consciously, and to release what no longer serves you? If you choose yes, then this moment becomes more than the ending of a video. It becomes the beginning of a new chapter. From this point forward, may you walk with open eyes, with a patient heart, and with a spirit light enough to rise. Because once you see the world this way, nothing will ever look the same again.